When the scheming woman was doing embroidery, she deliberately smeared honey on the embroidery cloth. After she finished embroidering, she lifted the red cloth in front of the empress, and a swarm of butterflies was drawn in by the honey. Everyone was stunned by the sight, but just when she thought victory was hers, the embroideress next to her unveiled her own embroidery, and the figures on it seemed to come to life and stepped right out of the cloth. Seeing this, the empress was instantly moved to tears because the embroidery depicted her own mother. The embroideress's husband was filled with regret at that moment, for he had divorced his wife Luna, the legendary top embroideress, just to marry the scheming woman. It turned out that before her grandmother passed away, she had passed the title of Luna to the woman. But to mourn her grandmother, she decided to accept the title only after 3 years. Today was the last day of those 3 years. That day, a general came to see the woman and asked her to repair the empress's phoenix robe so that on the empress's birthday he could present it to her. The woman said she hadn't touched embroidery in 3 years and asked if the general wasn't afraid she might ruin it. But the general said she had used those 3 years to build up an embroidery company and he believed she could do it. The woman didn't refuse anymore and agreed to take on the task after the general left. The woman was going to tell the man that she was Luna, but unexpectedly she overheard the man say that he was going to marry the scheming woman. The woman asked if he meant to have the scheming woman take her place shamelessly. The man said yes. The scheming woman was the mayor's daughter and she could never be a concubine. The woman asked if he had forgotten his original vows. The man, flustered, said he no longer had feelings for her and that it was the scheming woman who made him realize what true love was, and that when the scheming woman married in, she could help manage the company. The mother-in-law chimed in, saying that then the woman could stay home and serve her. The woman saw through them completely and bluntly said the scheming woman just wanted to steal her man and her company. At that moment, the scheming woman walked over and said, "That's right." Then she went to stand beside the man, linked arms with him, affectionately flaunted her status as the mayor's daughter, and demanded that the woman kneel to her. The woman said coldly, "You're not worthy." The scheming woman was about to get angry when the man quickly reminded her that the company had received the big order to repair the empress's robe, and the goal now was to take over the company. Seeing this, the scheming woman generously said she wouldn't hold it against the woman, but starting today, she would be taking over the company. The man also ordered that from now on, the scheming woman would run the company, and the woman would stay home to serve her mother-in-law. The woman couldn't take it anymore and said coldly that she wanted a divorce. The man said divorce was fine, but she had to leave the company behind. A maid reminded the man that the company had become #1 in the country thanks to the woman's hard work. But the scheming woman said she had already found embroidery machines in the West, and the company no longer needed the woman, seeing how confident they were. The woman decided to give them the company, but she had one condition. She would hand over the company only after 7 days. The man agreed to her request. It turned out the woman needed 7 days to repair the phoenix robe because the robe was her grandmother's work and she felt responsible for restoring it. Besides, it was the empress's robe and failing to fix it would bring punishment. But just then, the woman's father came to the man and demanded to know why he wanted to divorce her. But the scheming woman actually intended to teach the father a lesson. Fortunately, the woman stopped her in time, so her father's life wasn't in danger. The woman knew it was all the scheming woman's doing and slapped her right across the face. The man got angry and scolded her, telling her to hand over the company immediately. Only then did the woman realize he had told her father about the divorce on purpose, just to force her to leave sooner. She had planned to finish repairing the robe before leaving, but now it seemed there was no need the next day. The woman brought the transfer contract to the company. The scheming woman eagerly reached out to take it, but the woman stopped her. She reminded the scheming woman that repairing the robe was a task the general had given her, and if it wasn't done well, it could cost a head. But the man interrupted her, and the scheming woman said they had Western machines, so there was no need for her to worry, seeing how confident they were. The woman said no more and straightforwardly divorced the man. But as she was leaving the company, the employees were reluctant to see her go. The woman told them that she would definitely take the company back 3 days later. The man was being sweet with the scheming woman when a servant came and told them there was a problem with the robe. They hurried to the company. The scheming woman took a look at the robe and saw it was just a small loose thread, so she pulled it off with her hand, but that pull left a huge tear in the robe. Everyone gasped that heads would roll for this. An employee said only the woman could fix it now, but the scheming woman said she wasn't Luna anyway, and she figured that with sewing machines they could fix it overnight, and she ordered the employees to fix it with the machine soon. The empress's birthday arrived. The man and the scheming woman arrived at the palace early, but saw the woman there as well. It turned out the general had invited the woman to come into the palace on the birthday to chat with the empress. The scheming woman naturally didn't believe it and mocked her for losing her man, saying she was nothing. Now the woman ignored her and instead reminded her again about the robe, but the scheming woman confidently said she had already repaired it. Seeing that, the woman said nothing more after the banquet began. The scheming woman presented the repaired robe to the Empress. The Empress was overjoyed and ordered the robe to be spread out so she could take a closer look. But at that moment, the mended hole split open again. The Empress immediately felt she had been made a fool of at that moment. The scheming woman was still provoking the woman, completely unaware that disaster was about to fall on her.